Hi and welcome to another video from Everyday Moodlings. I'm your host, Jeree Parks. Couple of notes. I have a very bad cold and I have waited as long as possible to complete this video, but I need to get it done so I can post it. So my voice is not very great, so it's very gravelly. So please bear with me. Also, there might be some interesting editing in case I need to take a drink or cough. But this shouldn't be a long video today. We are going to look at what are called dimensional adhesives. Now, you may own some of these. You may own more than one of them. But I wanted to spend a little time kind of reviewing a number of them. So I am looking at 5 different ones. There are others out there that I did not include, but hey, a girl only needs so many dimensional adhesives, right? So let's take a look at what I included. First of all, if you don't know what a dimensional adhesive is, you might have diamond glaze, you might have glossy accents. Those are dimensional adhesives. That means they puddle up, kind of raised up on the page. They're liquid, and I'll show them to you in a moment. We'll pour them right for the bottle. They are clear, so they're great for attaching these items that you can see through. If you spread them out, they will create an enamel-like finish on top of your project. They're great for filling in things like these little bottle caps. A lot of people use them for jewelry making because they're very similar to a resin. But a resin is usually a 2-step process. It's a chemical reaction, so that gets to be a little messy. It also has a lot of fumes with it. So this is often easier. Now, I don't make jewelry, but I do use clear accents, and I do sometimes like to create spots where I'm going to add in some beads, and you'll see I tested that here on my page, and I'll show you some projects at the end that include these types of options. But let's talk about all the ones that I picked up. First of all, I had Glossy Accents by Ranger. This is just a tiny little bottle. It also comes in a 2-ounce bottle. This is Diamond Glaze by Judikins. This is Dimensional Magic by Mod Podge. This is Paper Glaze by Aleene's. And then I used one that you may or may not be familiar with. This is Pouring Medium by Liquitex. Now, this is traditionally meant to be added to acrylic paints to make them easier to pour, but it is glossy and it creates a really nice finish on the top of paper or your mixed media piece. So I wanted to test that one out as well. Now, this is a pretty big opening on the bottle, so that doesn't really work. So for the types of things that I would use it for, this is a better application. And you can buy these at any craft store. They are Ryder paint bottles, and you can buy them in the craft paint section. I should really buy them in bulk at this point because I love them so much, because you can do all kinds of other things with them. So I put that in here. The nice thing about this one is not only does it come with the glossy effect, but you can also buy it in matte. So if you wanted more of a matte look, you could do that as well. So before we get started on the samples, I also kind of wanted to go over the price of some of these. So I wrote them all down. The Diamond Glaze is around $6 for 2 ounces, so that's about $3 an ounce. The Glossy Accents is about $7 for a 2-ounce bottle, and this really depends on where you purchase it. If you get it with a coupon or get it on sale, it might be cheaper, but you know, it's just kind of an average. So again, that's about $3.50. The Mod Podge is about $6 for 2 ounces. The Paper Glaze was $5 for 2 ounces. The Pouring Medium is this is an 8-ounce bottle, but you can get a 32-ounce bottle for $23 in Dick Blick. So that means it's less than $1 an ounce. So that's a really, really good price. In fact, the 8-ounce bottle I think is right around $9. So that's just right at $1 an ounce. That's a huge savings, and there's tons of things you can do with this. So let's talk about my samples here. So I started out with glossy accents, and I want to kind of talk about the similarities and the differences. Glossy accents and diamond glaze were the most similar in that they were both very thick. I had a harder time making sure I didn't have any bubbles in my work, and it's a little hard to tell. Oh, no, maybe you can. There's a real slight yellowing to it. And I have heard or read online that over time these will yellow more. And my guess is that that may have to do, obviously, with the ingredients that they put in, but it also may be the type of adhesive that they're adding into it. So these, while I have used glossy accents, actually one of the reasons I did this is because I have used glossy accents for years, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love that I can create this enamel look, that I can use it for gluing and it glues really quick and easy, that I can create a reservoir to add different things in. I really like that about it. What I don't like is that it's very thick and it constantly clogs up. So I read this little hack online where you take one of those little plastic tags from clothing tagging and just insert it in there, and that'll keep it from clogging. But that, I just felt like, well, maybe there's something better out there than me sticking one of those little things in there. So you'll see in a moment, most likely, that the diamond glaze is also very thick, and it is also clogging. So obviously there's a relationship there. The thicker it is, the more likely it is to clog. Then we have our three others. The Aleene's, the Mod Podge, and the Pouring Medium. Let's talk about Aleene's first. Now, these three are all much thinner. They're more easy to manipulate, and I had fewer problems with bubbles. I did like the Aleene's. The only downside I really saw to it is it must appear to have more water in it, because it did warp the paper on the back just a little bit more than the rest. So then we're down to the Mod Podge and the Pouring Medium, and these two really had the most similarities to each other. They both are fairly thin. They are both kind of cloudy, and then they dry clear. And they are perfectly white, clear on the paper. Now, Pouring Medium is designed to stay clear, non-yellowing, and semi-flexible. So I'm fairly certain over time this will hold that true glossy look. The other thing that's great about any medium, and actually the diamond glaze says you can mix that as well, but this can be mixed with things. So my intention is to mix another bottle like this, but with a little bit of brown ink in it to give it more of an aged look. But you could mix it with any color. You could mix it with paint and get a similar effect. So overall, if I had to purchase one out of all of these for doing this type of work where I want to put a glaze over the top of something and I want it to be glossy and dimensional, I would choose the Pouring Medium. Now if we look at the other samples where I stuck down my gems and I created a small reservoir, basically a puddle on here to hold my beads, all of them did very well with this. They all stick on here very well. They're not coming off. I can't see the adhesive through the bead or the pebble. I would say the only the ones that are a bit stronger on these samples or these types of projects would be something that's a bit thicker. And that is only because it holds faster, it dries faster. So if you're worried about something slipping on your page, these two are probably better for that than these. Okay, so let's take a look at how each one of these flows out onto the paper. So we'll start with our glossy accents. Oh, and we can already see, even though I left that thing in there, it still has clogged up. Which of course was one of my complaints about glossy accents. So let's see if we can get it unclogged here. And try this again. It is very thick, as you can see, and slightly yellow right out of the bottle. I'm sure somebody has read even more ways to keep this from clogging, but it has been a constant frustration for me. Let's bring it in just a little bit closer. There. This is the diamond glaze, which is also very thick and already clogged, and I just used it last night. It clogs almost immediately, and it's kind of hard to get it to unclog. It is not quite as thick, but you can see the bubbles are there because of the thickness and because it clogs in there so bad. So now let's look at paper glaze. Now you can see they're a little cloudy, but they're going to dry clear, or almost clear. Right away you can see this one poured immediately. I didn't have any problems with it, and it is clearer. And there's the Aleene's again. Poured right away, no problems. And then finally, our diamond glaze. And that one has absolutely no problems pouring at all either. So, my favorites are the paper glaze, the Mod Podge. Oh, I got these mixed up, didn't I? Sorry about that. This is and the pouring medium. Got those a little bit messed up on my paper. These three, make sure you can see them, are my favorites. I will obviously use these two up for mostly for adhering things. But these three I will use for all the other applications, and when I choose to buy them in the future, this is what I will go with. So on the blog you'll find a complete list of each item and what I paid for it, and examples of finished projects. Before I go, I wanted to show you some examples. These hearts are covered with the glossy accents because at the time that's all I had. So then it gives a more enamel look to it. And I also added in some glitter flakes as well to those. And then this little heart on top, or the flower, you can see I created a pool really for the beads. I put the beads in and added a little bit more on top to secure them all to the tag. So those are a number of ways you can use some of these dimensional adhesives. If you have any questions about anything I used here, please be sure to let me know. Again, there's more information on the blog about each one of these and where you can purchase them, and kind of an overview of everything I've talked about on the video. See you next time.